the second night. We have Steve Harrigan. He's been there on the scene all night in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's now 12:30 there. What's the very latest?
About 4.5 hours in, some of the violence here has died down. The cleanup has begun. You can see workers here outside this Hyatt hotel sweeping up broken glass. Many of the hotels here along Central Charlotte were vandalized, windows smashed. First, Black Lives Matter was painted over these windows, and then they were smashed. We saw a number of police vehicles smashed, as well as luxury vehicles smashed, too. As far as the violence itself goes, it was really a back and forth between the police and the protesters. Protesters often hurling beer bottles or water bottles or rocks at the police. At least 6 police injured so far tonight. And as far as the protesters go, 1 man shot and near death right now, and 1 man seriously wounded. Right now we're seeing small sparks of confrontation between some protesters who are angry, others who are trying to keep the peace. As far as the police here goes, it's really been the first time they've been able to catch a bit of a breather. They have their masks up, some of them taking a knee and getting some water. The numbers were about 800 during the peak of the protest, really just a handful down now here, but there have been protests in other parts of the city, particularly concerning on Highway 277, which encircles the city of Charlotte, where people were actually stopping cars and jumping on top of them. That's really frightened a lot of people, just the reports and seeing those images. Yesterday, part of I-85 was actually blocked off by protesters, and at least 1 tractor trailer was looted and set on fire. So concerns not only in the downtown area, in the main part of the city, but also on the roads and the highways surrounding the area. We've heard from the governor about a state of emergency being declared, so we do expect more resources to be available, perhaps on a much grander scale tomorrow, to try and get a night of peace after 2 nights of violence here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jackie, back to you.
Steve, we're getting reports 7 police officers in the hospital being treated right now for what are believed to be minor injuries, and 1 person, as you mentioned, on life support. Now, it is important to note that that 1 person, it was civilian on civilian crime, a shooting there. We're heard that that person was shot in the head. Can you confirm that?
Yes, we can confirm it. Our cameraman, Chris Pontius, was right there at the scene in the middle of it when it happened, and you could see the blood coming out of the back of that man's head. So it's not clear what he was shot with, whether it was a bullet or what hit him, but the city of Charlotte is saying it was a civilian-on-civilian attack, that police did not fire bullets at any of the protesters. The police did use a variety of non-lethal force throughout the 4 hours here. Beanbags, paintball, mace, tear gas. At one point, the entire street was really a cloud of tear gas, and each time the police would fire, it was to move the crowd of protesters back. They'd advance slowly, but really remarkably little progress after 4 hours. It basically took the police force 4 hours to control about 4 blocks against these protesters. So perhaps tomorrow we're going to see much more manpower and a much more effective operation against these demonstrators, who likely will be out again in force.
Sounds like a lot of non-lethal force. Did you see any police officers draw their guns?
No, we didn't, but there were a lot of ways to get injured. Whenever the tear gas was fired, people would take off and run, especially when concussion grenades were thrown. They make a tremendous boom. They really shake the air, and there's bright lights flashed as well, so it scares a lot of people, especially who aren't familiar with them. So people take off really in a panicked run. So there's certainly a lot of ways for minor injuries. The paintballs and the mace can hurt quite a bit as well, too. There's still some tear gas lingering in the air here, but non-lethal force and a lot of patience by police who were sworn at and had just about everything handy thrown at them throughout the night.
All right, Steve Harrigan live in Charlotte, North Carolina tonight, covering the riots for the 2nd night in a row. We thank you for being out there. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. You're looking at images from Charlotte, North Carolina.